Hey Underdogs, welcome back to Underdogs Rise, the podcast where we rise together. Today I want to explore with you a simple yet profound idea. As your love grows, your taste will change. I'm not talking about different foods or different music or different hobbies. It goes much deeper than that. Because the things that we are often drawn to are the reflections of who we're actually becoming. As our own capacity for love expands, our own relationship with life changes. The things that once attracted us may longer not do that anymore. And the things that we once ignored may suddenly become the most precious things that we have. And even without noticing it, our tastes begin to change. So let's talk about what happens when our love becomes a force shaping our own lives. Every single day we are communing. We're consuming something. Not just food. Our thoughts or someone else's. The media, from experiences, our relationships, our opinions, assumptions, everything that we repeatedly take action on becomes a part of us and slowly becomes our identity. And our tastes often shape what we are feeding ourselves. But when we disconnect from love, we start to crave things that stimulate us, but do not nourish us. Constant distraction, comparison, drama, or even conflict. But as our love grows, something begins to shift. We become more interested in what strengthens us. We start looking and seeking for things that brings us understanding. Connection instead of competition. Meaning instead of the noise. Because love changes our appetite. Imagine a river flowing through a stone. And year after year it gently shapes the landscape. It doesn't do this through force. It does this through persistence and consistency. And love works much the same way. It slowly redefines who we are. The person you were 10 years ago had different needs. It had different fears, and it had different desires. And the person that you are becoming today may not hold those same old preferences anymore. And that's okay. Our growth is not meant to be comfortable. Often the greatest changing of our growth happens in the discomfort. When it feels like you're outgrowing something. And there feels to be a moment of a disconnect with who you were and who you're becoming. And sometimes we outgrow conversations. We outgrow our environments. And sometimes we outgrow the visions of ourselves and the versions of ourselves. Not because they were bad, but maybe just because they were preparing us for something more. You see, love does not erase who we were. It helps us to build upon it. It takes the lessons from what we have learned, but it keeps the wisdom. I think one of the biggest changes for love, it brings a deeper meaning for appreciation of peace and our own peace. When we're younger, excitement itself can feel more valuable than peace. The noise, the constant distractions can feel more interesting than actually being in stillness. But love, that matures within us. And peace itself becomes increasingly more attractive. Not just because life becomes easier, but because we begin to understand its value. We start to appreciate the quiet mornings, the moments that we have without urgency. Just simply being present in the moment. And then we discover that peace itself is not boring. It never was. Peace is powerful. It creates a space where we can just breathe. And you stop chasing every storm that can manifest in our minds. You stop unknowingly volunteering for every battle. And you start protecting your own energy with greater care. You see, our love expands our perception. And also our perspective on how we value ourselves and our time. But when we truly care about others, we start seeing life through more than just our own eyes. We become more curious. We can start asking ourselves different questions. instead of what can I get? What can I give? What can I give? What can we celebrate? Those qualities that we once overlooked start to become the qualities that we actually cherish. Our kindness, our humility, and our authenticity. This becomes so beautiful to us because the love that we share that love in itself teaches us their value. I think one of the greatest transformations that we can ever go through is when we turn our love inward. This is not selfishness. This is genuine self-compassion. For many of us, and myself included, for such a long time, it was a constant struggle against myself. I'd criticise every mistake. I'd judge every weakness that I had. But love, that offers us a different way. It says that you can grow without attacking yourself. You can learn while still feeling that you are worthy. And over time we become less attracted to those environments that kept us small. Less willing to tolerate those relationships that were just built on disrespect. Because we start to begin to understand something important. Our own value is not something that we earn. It is something that we can recognise. And once we recognise it, we start making different choices. Love can often lead to simplicity. And that happens because life itself becomes clearer. I think that the older that we all get, the more that we realise that life's greatest treasures are simple. A heart that understands. A love that helps us to see things more clearly. Because it helps us remove clutter. And suddenly that once seems ordinary moment becomes extraordinary. The present moment becomes enough. This was a hard lesson for me to learn. And I'm still going through this myself. I am far from being perfect. I never will be. But I aim to always be better than yesterday. Because most of us will resist change. Because they worry it means that they are losing themselves. But growth is not loss. It's becoming. If you are going through this yourself, perhaps the tastes, your tastes are changing. And that could be because your heart is expanding. Maybe you're just simply becoming someone who values different things. And there's nothing wrong with that. It never has been and it never will be. So today, underdogs, start to pay attention to what your heart is beginning to appreciate. Start to notice what no longer attracts you. Because those changes are telling you a story. It's telling you a story about your growth and also about your healing. And as your love grows, your taste will change. And that is something to celebrate. Underdogs rise, and we rise together.